Hi y'all. Today we're going to talk about basic WordPress troubleshooting. What to do when something goes wrong. WordPress is an excellent platform on which to build a website. For new users, it's often scary to make changes to the site for fear of causing a problem. That's why it's critical to understand WordPress troubleshooting so you don't feel the urge to panic when something goes wrong. Sometimes when something goes wrong, you'll still have access to the admin area, but there may be times when you don't, so I'll cover both situations. Before we get started, let's talk about one of the most important parts of maintenance of your site, backups. If you haven't been backing up your site regularly, this experience will make a believer out of you. If you have, you'll breathe a sigh of relief. I make changes and post new content frequently on my site, so I have daily backups. That way, if something goes horribly wrong, I can easily recover the site. Before you begin troubleshooting, clear your browser cache and/or view your site in a private window. If you have access to your admin area, you're in luck. You might want to install a maintenance plugin so you're not showing your errors to the world. You'll need FTP access and WordPress admin access in the admin user role. If you have admin access, here are the first steps to figuring out what's wrong. First, let's go to our plugin page and just click right here and deactivate. Under bulk actions, you can just check deactivate and apply. Deactivate all your plugins. If the problem goes away, you have a plugin problem. Reactivate your plugins one by one until the error comes up again. Then you know what plugin is causing the issue. Delete it and find a similar plugin that won't cause issues. If it's not a plugin issue, it might be a theme issue. Set your active theme to one of WordPress default themes, 2020, 2021, 2015, or one of those. If the problem persists, it's not your theme. Another step is to refresh your permalinks. Go to your permalink settings, scroll all the way to the bottom, and click Save Changes. That will force WordPress to refresh your permalinks and sometimes takes care of the problem. Check your site URL settings. Go to Settings, General Settings, and ensure that the WordPress address and the site address are identical. If you don't have admin access or the above steps don't work, you'll need FTP access either from a code editing application or the cPanel or similar area on your host. The area you want will be File Manager or something similar. The steps aren't that different from the steps above, but you'll just do them differently. To deactivate plugins, go into your WP-content folder and rename this plugins folder, like just an underscore, an old, or whatever you want to do. All plugins will now be deactivated. If the problem goes away with the plugins deactivated, you know you've got a plugin issue. Now you can revert the plugins folder back to its original name and then change the name of each plugin until the site's back. At that point, you'll probably be able to access the admin area. If it's not a plugin issue, look at your theme. Follow the same procedure as with plugins. You'll find your theme in your themes folder in the WP content folder. If the problem persists, you know you do not have a theme issue, and if the problem goes away, you know that the problem is your theme. You can also reinstall WordPress manually. Download WordPress from WordPress.org, open the zip folder, and overwrite the core files in your WordPress installation. Do not overwrite the WP content folder, because if you do, you'll lose all your themes and plugins and settings. If the problems persist, get in touch with your hosting company. Many hosts now have live chat, which connects you with someone who can help in real time and will stick with you until the problem is resolved. They'll also be able to tell you if the issue is with the hosting. Here are a few common errors. The white screen of death. This is exactly what it sounds like and just as scary. When you access your site, you'll see a blank white screen. According to WPBeginner.com, a white screen of death usually means you have exhausted your memory limit. To fix this, find the following line of code in your config.php file. And it'll say define WordPress memory limit, and then you just change this number to a higher number, preferably a multiple. Internal server error. This error is often caused by a corrupted htaccess file. In either the File Manager section of your hosting account or your FTP application, you'll have to turn on the Show Hidden Files option if you haven't already. By default, any file with a dot at the beginning of the file name is hidden. In the root directory of your site, find the htaccess file and rename it. This will force WordPress to create a new file. It will often take care of the problem. Also, ensure that there are no extra lines in this file. This error can often be fixed by generating a new htaccess file, like we just did. Most errors are the result of a plugin or theme conflict, so the primary WordPress troubleshooting steps detailed above are a great starting point. Occasionally, a WordPress theme or plugin update will cause issues. In this case, you can use a plugin like WP Rollback to go back to the previous version and begin troubleshooting from there. Above all, don't panic. With WordPress market share now 40% of all websites, it's highly unlikely that you have an issue that someone hasn't found a fix for. A Google search will likely find what you need, and sites like WPBeginner.com and the WordPress site have a wealth of resources to offer. Oh yeah, and be sure to back up your site regularly.